Through the years, we've seen Homer Simpson do some pretty crazy things and get involved in some outrageous stunts. While a majority of the actions are due to his stupidity or goofiness, there are some pretty terrible things he's inflicted on family and friends. Abuse, neglect, and even death are just the surface of the worst things Homer has ever done. Relive the moments that go far beyond the simple to explain them away. Before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of our new Screen Rant content.
Clarinet?
No.
Oboe?
No.
Saxophone?
No. Wait a minute, what was that last one again?
Saxophone.
Lisa, stop playing that stupid saxophone! Yes, that's it!
Lisa needs a read. It's pretty safe to say Marge carries most of the parenting duties in the Simpsons household. If Homer is not working, you could find him at Maude's tavern or trying to hatch some type of crazy scheme. Things became even more obvious about Homer's lack of parenting skills in the season 3 episode entitled Lisa's Pony. Lisa is about to perform in the school talent show, but she needs a reed for her saxophone. After calling 10 other people, she finally must reach out to Homer to purchase the reed. Homer promises to get it, and the instrument shop is located right next to Maude's tavern. With only 5 minutes until the store closes, Homer decides to have a drink instead. Of course, he arrives late at the school, Lisa plays horribly without her reed, and it's actually pretty sad to see her crying on stage. Homer shows up right as the performance ends, so not only did he choose beer over his daughter's needs, but he missed her whole performance anyway. To make things worse, Homer watches a home video where he has neglected Lisa over and over again throughout the years. Bart may take the physical punishment, but Lisa's emotional trauma runs far deeper.
I like the fresh air and looking at the poor people in the infield.
Getting Maude Flanders killed. Through the years, we've seen the death of multiple characters on The Simpsons, but nothing was as shocking as Maude Flanders. The wife of Ned Flanders was a pivotal character for the first 11 seasons of the show, but when the voice actors decided to call it quits, the showrunners decided to kill her off in a humorous fashion. While her death wasn't downright murder, the whole thing was completely Homer's fault. While the Flanders and Simpsons attended a race at the local racetrack, Homer found himself overly excited with the arrival of girls using t-shirt cannons. He screamed and shouted for a t-shirt and even drew a bullseye on his bare chest. As a barrage of t-shirts come flying at Homer, he ducks down to pick up, of all things, a bobby pin. And Maude Flanders gets walloped with the shirts. She falls to her death from the top of the stands. The whole thing could have been prevented if Homer just caught the shirts. To insult her death even further, the same t-shirt cannon girl shot out black shirts at Maude's funeral.
Woo! Hello, sweet cheek!
A failing son and a failing kidney. If you thought Homer treated his children bad, then you can only imagine how he treats his poor, elderly father, Abe Simpson. He keeps him in a nursing home, sees him as little as possible, and throws plenty of insults his way while the pair are actually together. Homer's poor treatment of his father was so bad it actually led to Abe's own kidney failure. While the family drives home from a ghost town tourist attraction, Homer refuses to stop and let Abe use the restroom. As a result, Abe's kidney explodes and he has to go to the hospital. Homer quickly finds out he is an eligible donor, but refuses to go under the knife to support his father. Twice within the episode, he denies his kidney to the ailing Abe. At least karma ends up biting back at Homer near the end of the episode. When Homer gets into an accident and is left unconscious, his kidney is taken away from him without him knowing until he wakes up. After denying Abe his kidney throughout the whole episode, Homer ends the episode by planning a way to get Bart's kidney whenever he may need it. The purposely selfish act showcases how cruel Homer can be to his own family. Murdering celebrities. When it comes to the annual Treehouse of Horror episodes, anything goes in the world of The Simpsons. The stories are all non-canon and we've seen some pretty crazy things happen. For Homer, one of his more brutal episodes took place during Treehouse of Horror 19, in a segment entitled How to Get Away in Deadvertising. The parody of Mad Men envisions Homer as a celebrity hitman for a group of advertising agents who want to milk money off the death of several celebrities. Homer shows no remorse as he cashes in on the deaths of several big names. George Clooney goes first as Homer replaces cement with quicksand when the actor goes to place his handprints at the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Then, in a pretty violent fashion, Homer chokes and beats Prince to death with his own guitar. He later finished things off by taking out Neil Armstrong while the astronaut was giving a speech. One of the more morbid parts of the whole thing is that Neil Armstrong and Prince are now actually dead. Homer's actions are reflective of the Halloween-themed episode, but we wonder if the character would actually take part in these murders if he was offered the money. Framing Marge for drunk driving. Through the years, people love to debate over the best and worst episodes of The Simpsons. When it comes to the worst episodes, there's one thing many people agree upon. Codependence Day is just an awful episode.
Wait! Before you have us killed, hear us out.
Debuting in the 15th season, the whole premise involves Marge and Homer going on a multi-day drinking binge after going to a wine tasting. Marge's drinking becomes out of control, and Homer ends up driving and crashing while both are drunk. In one of his worst decisions ever, Homer places the blame for the accident on Marge, who remembers nothing from the incident. Marge is forced into rehab while Homer lives freely. The terrible decision upset many viewers and was a purposely poor choice made by Homer. The whole storyline is hard to watch, and even takes away from the brilliant B storyline involving Bart, Lisa, and their take on the Star Wars prequels. Homer has done some pretty awful things to Marge over the years, but this one takes the cake, and many fans wish it could just be removed from the show's canon. By the end of the episode, Homer admits his mistake, and the couple end up back together, but Homer should have suffered a few more consequences for his actions.
Bart, how could you shock your little sister?
My finger slipped. So did mine.
Shock therapy for the family. Today, The Simpsons are just a normal part of our culture. They've defined Sunday nights for years and are one of the most popular television families of all time. When the show premiered, it was a whole different story. The antics of the yellow-skinned family were seen as controversial, even though Bart's smart mouth pales in comparison to characters like South Park's Cartman, Family Guy's Stewie, and Archer. One of the episodes that sent shockwaves through the media was an early episode in the very first season of the show. When the Simpsons family cannot get along and traditional therapy is pointless, the whole yellow-skinned clan decides to try their hand at shock therapy. Yes, even the pacifier-sucking infant Maggie is strapped up to the electrodes. What follows is a long scene of Homer delivering electrical shocks to every member of his family, and happily doing so. Not only is the shocking pretty horrible, but to see a father do this to his children is so cringy. To make it worse, the characters feel so out of place doing it. Marge drinks in the episode, and little Lisa is just as much of a brat as Bart. Maybe the shock therapy actually did the trick and transformed them all into the characters we know and love today.
I want to register to run for sanitation commissioner. And tell the fat cats upstairs, things are gonna change in this town.
Okay, but this is where you register as a sex offender.
Homer's garbage dilemma. For 29 continuous seasons, Homer Simpson has always looked for the easy way out. He tries to take the lazy path in everything he does, and the result often involves some type of crazy plot or story, including a trash can to replace a chiropractor and a bobbing bird toy to complete a computer work at home. In the episode Trash of the Titans, Homer decides to take on the world's garbage pickup. Homer wants his garbage service to do a lot more for him, and in an effort to do this, he decides to run for sanitation commissioner with a bunch of crazy promises and a catchy jingle as the 24-hour garbage service begins. Naturally, the plan was thought out without a budget in mind, and Homer runs out of money pretty quick. To help save Springfield, he rents out the local caves to the garbage services of other nearby towns. The caves fill up with so much garbage they explode and pollute Springfield beyond repair. Homer destroyed the whole city and doesn't have to pay any consequences for his actions. What does Springfield do now that everything is polluted and destroyed? They move the whole town 5 miles over, ready to fall back into their bad pollution habits once again.
Hey, smooth move, Flanders.
And I'm Mrs. Homer Simpson.
Marrying another woman. One of Homer's true constants in his life is Marge. Despite all his shortcomings, Homer always stays by her side and ultimately shows his love for her. Of course, until he's drunk in Las Vegas and marries another woman. From Friends to The Hangover, we've all seen the drunken Vegas wedding before, but Homer Simpson takes it one step further by marrying someone while he is already married. In the episode Viva Ned Flanders, the two characters get extremely drunk and end up marrying two waitresses by the names of Amber and Ginger. By the end of the season 10 episode, Homer hasn't told Marge about the incident and all seems forgotten. Flash forward to season 13, and we are shocked to see the return of Amber and Ginger. The marriages are still considered legal, and Marge finds out about Homer's quickie marriage to Amber. Homer finds a way out of the marriage by tricking Amber into marrying his own father, Abe Simpson. So not only did Homer basically cheat on Marge, but he hitched his own father with the manipulative woman. It's pretty crazy to think of the divorce rate in America and see how long Homer and Marge have managed to stay married together.
Don't get me wrong, it's worth feeling 3 inches tall to find out what kind of a person you really are. Marge Simpson, president of the International We Love Flanders fan club.
Sabotaging Ned Flanders. Homer's love-hate relationship with his neighbor Ned Flanders is mostly a hate relationship. No matter how nice, kind, and friendly he is, Homer loves to insult him, taunt him, and find any chance to humiliate the poor guy. One of Homer's more cruel examples of this comes from the season 3 episode entitled When Flanders Failed. In the episode, Ned follows his dreams of opening up a leftorium, a store with all products catered to left-handed people. Homer's first misstep in the episode is when he wishes on a wishbone for Flanders' business to fail and close. The poor guy has a wife and kids to support. The evil wish wasn't enough for Homer. He ran into several left-handed characters who had troubles and could have used help from the store, but Homer purposely doesn't help them. When Ned goes bankrupt, Homer takes his cruelty one step further by buying all of Ned's items for cheap. At least Homer tries to make up for this horrible action by the end of the episode. He tries to return Ned's stuff and encourages everyone in town to shop at Ned's store. Homer's guilt got the best of him, but his unwarranted cruelty does make him a little unlikable for the first half of the episode.
You little...
Stop fighting!
Mom, that's not how you pry them apart.
Strangling Bart. The Simpsons is filled with a lot of great traditions. There are some that should never go away, including the opening credits chalkboard gag, the family couch gag, and the numerous catchphrases the characters have. Then there are some traditions that should phase out over time, while we look back on them fondly. One of these traditions is Homer strangling Bart. Talk about child abuse. Bart has had his neck wrangled and choked a countless number of times by Homer. Some of these chokeouts are a lot worse than others, and often include violent shakings of the head. A flashback scene in one episode even showcases Homer strangling an infant version of Bart who is just learning to talk. Most of the time, the choking occurs with just bare hands, but there have been instances where Homer relies on other sources, including a telephone cable. Sure, the gag is funny, but when you really break it down and see how much a father is choking out his son, things become a little disturbing. There are a few times where Bart has gotten his revenge, including a time when he used Homer's own belt to choke him when Bart's hands were too small to wrap around his neck. Even worse than Homer may be Marge, who constantly witnesses the choking and does little to help stop it. Wow. What was the worst one on the list? Were there any we missed? Has Homer only gotten worse over the years? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Screen Rant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with our awesome content. Thanks for watching.